This webinar is for information purposes only. It is not intended to be legal advice. We do not supply legal advice. If you require legal advice, please contact a qualified legal professional. All information in this webinar is private. All results can be different, and your actions or results are your own responsibility. We cannot be held responsible for other people's actions and or results. Hello there, Peter Wilson here again. It's the Thursday again, so I'm back to I'm going to call it my Thursday beatings, where I get beat up. Ricky, my son, beats me up on a Thursday morning at his gym in Newcastle. So I'm driving back now, just finished, hot and sweaty, all red. Oh, get away from this bumpy road. So we need to get out of here and get back into the countryside and the coast. That's where we want to be. Don't want to be in the city. So lift that up a little bit. Alrighty. But I've been watching a few of these snippets. I never watched TV. Absolutely never. Definitely never on the news or anything like that. But I do get sent clips of stuff, you know. And a lot of news at the minute with a guy from up my way. He lives about 20 minutes from here, actually, where I am now. Just get onto that the road I'm heading towards it now, the A19. Oh, big bump there. And when you get onto the A19, you could be at his house in about 15 minutes. Dominic, you call him, you know? Who's it looks as if he's trying to like snitch and grass everyone up, especially Watercock. But do you know what? I don't believe a word of it. This is a pantomime, you know, a true pantomime to make you stop looking at everything else. Now look at the United States. Look at Florida and Texas. Look at what they're doing now. It's like basically like we are sick of it, you know. And getting on back to it, well, you know, it's more normal than anything anyway, you know. And here, right where I am right now, right, this is supposed to have restrictions where you're not allowed to go in and out of this area. You know, they've got one of them big red blobs on it. When somebody sent me a little video snippet from the news, old Doris, and he's got his map behind him and a big red dot like right over this area here, you know, up in Newcastle. Oh man, what a joke it all is. But I just thought I'd pop on and driving back. Oh, I'm aching. A good hard training session there. Enjoyed it though. So I'll get home. I'm scruffy, but I'm going home now because I knew I was going to be doing that. I'm going to shave and shower and get all tidy. Alright, and then I got my classes on Friday. What day is it? Thursday. Got my classes on tonight. I had to go and last night I'd run in the gym on my own because there was like shooting outside or something, which don't bother me, but the dogs were like the little ones terrified. I think the little one, if you were on the webinar, the little one that was doing the webinar with me, bad. So anyway, I had to like leave Janine in the house to look after the dog. Oh, but I was just thinking I want to do it next weekend. I want to do another one, and I still want to go over more on the A for V. Acceptance for value, or accept for value, where you're returning credit card bills, council tax bills, bank loan bills, the monthly payments or whatever, and you return it to them, accept for value, and you've got to do the right paperwork with it though. You can't just like send it back and saying to hell with you. You have to have the right paperwork, and you have to create a trust with it. And once you've created the trust and you appoint your fiduciary, you know, it's a legal process. and then you have to have your affidavits backing it up, you know, when and if they try and say anything stupid, which I've seen. You know what is, I've seen some really ridiculous responses. I call them from Agnes in the office, you know. Now, once you create a trust is an extremely strong legal document. You know, I'm talking about trust because I have my private trust, and I've been recently putting more possessions into the trust, you know, my business and everything. And so what I've done is, like, you know, write a notice to the local council saying, like, got to get my name off of the business, because I can't remember, I think they call it like my name trading as something like that. So I'll just get it off, you know. It's now the trust, the name of the trust, and then I signed it, had to sign it, and trustee, and I did the same with the car. So I put the car into the trust. I've been having backwards and forwards with the DVLA, you know, and you've got to be careful with them. You've got to make sure you can't just turn around and decide yourself, I'm no longer taxed, so I've deregistered my car. Because once it's registered, unless you put it, I'm going to whiz around here, get in front of this lorry. Once you've registered, unless you put it down for a permanent export, then it'll stay registered forever. Now, you can tell them it's not registered, and you can say, you know, and you can swap the plates even. Now, I know that there's quite a few people swapping the plates, and they're putting this. I don't want to say what it is, but it's like a certain person's idea, not mine. And they're getting stopped, and they're getting the cars taken off them, and they're seized, you know, and they're going to crush them. And they haven't evidenced themselves in the private, and they haven't got any of the paperwork sent off, you know, or anything. Now, I don't care, like, you know, what anybody says, but, like, when you set up and you swear on an affidavit that this is true, this is true, this is true, the only way legally, now these are strong legal documents. Now, the strength of these has been hidden by the law, by the judiciary, by the legislation. It's still all there. It's still 100% valid. Okay, all of this stuff, which I'm going to tell you about, the lien, commercial lien, all of this is a very strong way of you fighting back against these banksters, these scumbags. And they don't want you to know about it. And because they don't want you to know about it, they hide it. Alright, so you can't do this, you can't do that. And everybody thinks, like, you know, that we've got no power. And we have. We, the people, we have the power. But anyway, so, like, these people, like, who put the plates on and they get stopped, they've got no registration numbers that are registered. It doesn't stop them taking the car. You know, the clowns in the costumes, they have got no idea. These people are specially selected for the level of stupidity that they have. Right? Now, I know that there's people spying on this, and I know that I've had loads of hassle with hack-ins and stuff like that, getting, like, and I know that there's they send people in to troll you and everything like that. I don't care. Right? But for these clowns in costumes, they're not constables. There is no constabulary. These are all private, limited companies, private corporations for profit. You should Google yours, or go on to Duns and Bradstreet. Now, they hide it on Company House because that's a government website. So they hide it. But, like, the government itself, that's got a Duns and Bradstreet number. I've got it at home written down, and I've sent it out on certain posts and whatnot, and videos. But and so is my local constabulary, but it isn't a constabulary, it is a police service now. So they got these policy enforcers is what they are. Policy enforcement officers. They are not a police officer, they're not a constable, ever. But I was told that on the they still have the word constable on their warrant cards. I don't know why, maybe it just costs too much to change it, or maybe they just can't be bothered, or maybe they want to scam. Even the clowns in costumes are getting scammed. You know, they get no education, no training. You know, someone was telling me that is in there, and they do these big like seminars and that, and it's all just up on a board and video, and you watch it, and then that's it. That's your training, and then bugger off on the street and terrorise some people. You know, there's I'm speaking to a guy in Australia who has took over the office of the Commonwealth of Australia, because it still exists, and so does the Commonwealth of England. So if anybody knows how to actually find out the date of when they created the United Kingdom and they changed the spelling to all caps, that's what they do. They change the spelling and they get rid of the actual, the real government, and they put in the corporation. Hang on, I just passed this lorry here. And, but anyways, I keep changing the subject there. Just saying, you know, when you're changing your car over, you got to make sure that you're properly evidenced in the private. You know, that you are like you're not your legal fiction, and you've got the documentation. Now, once you've sent the documentation off, I don't care. Like if you were trying, oh no, I work for a legal company, and I know that's not true. Yeah, right, okay. You please yourself, pal. Listen. They do not rebut your affidavit, then it stands as truth in law. That is the law. They do not rebut your affidavit, it stands as truth in law. It is fact in law then. Not their stupid legislation, not some act of parliament. So then you send off the second phase. You send off the acceptance, like basically it's a thank you letter, accepting what do you call it? You're thanking them for accepting you as a private man, living man, that you're not dead at sea, that you're not under the rule of a legislation or an act of parliament. Okay, now once you've got that and you send off your acceptance, and the second time that they do not rebut that one, and you don't get any response, you've got it written on. I've got it written on all my documents that I'm preparing for next week, which was going to be when it's all properly witnessed. That's what they call it, witnessed as private. And it states on the bottom of all my documentation then, accepted by, and in my case, you know, because of where I live, Queen Elizabeth, Old Doris, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, and all the rest of it. I've just done some from Ireland there. We had to find the Irish Archbishop, found it all, and then someone else sent it out. It was good because I only had one that wasn't the same. I was quite pleased with myself. Found all the proper people to send it off to in Ireland, Southern Ireland, not Ulster. Ulster would be the same as us, you see. But that makes you completely private, and that's the documents that you keep with you if you're ever stopped by a clown. Now, if you haven't got those documentation, you've got no argument, you know. And now you have an argument. They say, look, I have been witnessed, and is by everybody, bloody blah. Even the Queen says I'm not under there. So who are you to argue with her, or whoever it'll be, in very soon, I would think. But this is what I'm saying, that, you know, these people who had no documentation, you can't turn around and go, oh, we ring this woman, she'll tell you I'm allowed to do it. Oh, really? Okay, well that works well. And then these people are losing their cars, you know. you need to be travelling, as I'm doing. We all have to be travellers, which you're allowed to do by law, and it states by law. Look at your passport. You should be travelling unhindered. You even get supported and protection. The Queen promises you. You know, but they hide it all in law. It's not as well hidden. It's actually more easy to find when you're in the United States, but it is still the law. Don't listen to these people who are trying to like quote legislation, acts of parliament, road traffic act, an act. They're all actors, and these clowns, they're just the really bad actors. At the end of the day, you know, even if you had, say back in the day, and you had been speeding when I don't like speeding, you know, it's like I don't mind it on motorways, go as fast as you like. Oh, I'm supposed to go off here. Hang on. Good job I'm not speeding. But you know, just say that you had done like over this limit for a certain bit of road, you know, and you just done it, and then you've slowed down again to overtake a bike, say for instance. You've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to be careful. You don't want to be stuck behind a bike doing 10 miles an hour all the way to your travelling destination. Sometimes you have to go slightly over the limit, 30 say, but only to get past and then you're safe, because I like to make sure I've got lots of space for them. I hate it when I've been on a bike and people nearly knock you off. They say, oh, we're just passing, you're just a bike. Just a bike? How's that just a bike? You're a living man, so you should be treated with respect the same as everyone else. Anyway, you know, a bit like, if that is what they call as an offence, it's not a crime. You haven't hurt anyone. Where is the victim? Where is the crime? Corpus delicti. Alright, that is the term for it. Where is the body of the crime? But I'm talking about like a lot of law here, and I was talking before about like how they hide all of the laws from us. So I think next week I'm gonna put stuff up in the group. If I don't know if it's gonna change or what, if Andy's doing it or what, or when. But I'm going to put it up in my normal website with the other information, but I will be doing the webinar, and I'll have like the information in there for, and obviously it needs a lot of work to get it in your head for doing the lien, the commercial lien on people. This is our power to fight back against corrupt corporations and idiot clowns in costumes that don't know the law and think just because they've got a yellow jumper on, right, that they can carry some weapon because it says the job. You know, they've got no jurisdiction over you whatsoever, none. Now, if you read the legal notice and demand that I've wrote up, it tells you a lot in there about Acts of Parliament and about it's like, I can't remember his name now, it might be Beatson, who says on a speech, it was at the Nottingham University, whichever university it was in, that's where it was. All right, there's two of them apparently. Well, find out then which one it was. Don't be asking me. Bloody hell. But anyway, and he said that government have got, like, you know, the same power as the janitor from McDonald's. You know, and there's only any power if it's consenting, right? And you're consenting to be governed. You know, and this is what these clowns don't get. It's got to be consenting, and a lot of times you've even heard them say it's like you're consenting because you live here, you know, and it's called tacit consent. Well, I tacitly unconsent. What it means is, right, if you don't tell them, then you've consented. If you don't tell them, then you've consented. You've agreed with them. But so you have to tell them then. Basically, that's what this witness thing, this is what the legal notice and demand is. And you can stick for good measure in the hold harmless, the security agreement, the rescind all contract signatures and contracts, something like that. And the copyright thing. So listen, you know, like, you should still be using the copyright thing for yourself, for your lowercase name. Don't worry about the full caps name thing, right? Because you're going to get into an argument, because it's what we were trying to copyright was not the actual letters themselves, but the use of it as a trademark to be able to do commerce. And you can still do commerce fully private, you can still do commerce under the full caps name. You control it. That's what we want, control, not ownership. Because if you own it, now this a lot of these letters were done from a course that I had done, and someone is still selling this course for a lot of money, 700 quid or something. And on that course there, they still are trying to say you should copyright that, right? Now if you declare ownership, what you're declaring is that you were the trustee. You were the trustee. I was going to try and overtake a car coming, bus in front of me. You're the trustee, which is all well and good, apart from when it comes to liability. The trustee of the trust, whatever trust it will be, but we're calling it set of KV trust we're talking about, they hold all liability. So if you are the trustee, you are liable for all the fines, the tax, the payments and everything else. So you don't want to be the trustee, you are the beneficiary. So only claim copyright on the lowercase. Alright? So just remember that bit. So that's what we're talking about, the evidence for. But anyway, so going back, I want to be talking about the liens, right? A commercial lien can be done by anybody. I went to law school years ago. I was in the Royal Navy. I joined at 16-year-old in the 70s, and I was never very good, you know. All I wanted to do was get away and travel. I never felt I was right. I always felt that I was like not here. I always felt I was somebody else. I never fitted into my body. For years and years and years, I always felt like I was watching myself and I wasn't actually really here. It's very, very weird. I know that. I tell Janine, she thinks I'm weird. But it was like, no, I'm not really here, you know. And even when really bad shit was happening, it was like, it doesn't matter because it's not you anyway. You're just watching. And I always felt for years and years and years that I was just watching what was happening and I wasn't in it. Isn't that strange? And I always felt like that. But anyway, I went to law school when I came out of the Navy, the Royal Navy, because I wanted something to do. But I was always interested in it, still am obviously. And I was studying the law of tort. Now, T-O-R-T, tort. This is what we're interested in. A tort is anyone in any place, you know, that does harm to you, physically or commercially, financially, anything like that. It's a tort. They've done a tort on you. It's very powerful, the law of tort. And I did this for a while. I was taught how to do a tort, or how to get remedy from a tort. And it's called a commercial lien. It's a very powerful legal mechanism. And it's well hidden in this realm of legislation, that wherever country you're in, you got legislation, be it the US, here in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and they do all these parliamentary, or is it the Senate, the Congress, whichever you do, right? And they come up with these, you know, Senate acts or parliamentary acts. Well, you know, they can only apply if you consent. And they can only apply if you agree with them. But the law of tort is a law. It is the law of the land. Legum terri, law of the land. And they can't argue with it. Now, this is where you can really get some revenge, right? Now, just sit and on the law of tort, where you're doing a commercial lien, and this is in their law books, it's in the law books. You should look up, get law books on tort, T-O-R-T, but also Halesbury's Laws of England, you know, or Black's Laws in the US. It's the same, you know. There's no like, oh, you can't use Black's Laws. You can, but I'm just saying Halesbury's Laws of England. And you look for the commercial lien or tort, T-O-R-T. Now, these people, it states there, doesn't matter what post you think you have or what authority you think you have, what like a uniform you may be wearing. These clowns in costumes, you know. I think they're clever because do you know how scruffy they look? You noticed lately, do you know, on the codes of conduct and pace, all right, and Robert Peel's principles of law enforcement, very strict, all of them, on how they dress and how they act, and they break this all the time. You know, they break this. This is their laws and their rules, and they break them all the time. That, you know, they dress like scruffs. You know, you see them and they've got all these webbing on now. Like webbing is like the straps and everything they put, and they've got the weapons in and everything. They never used to dress like that, but they do now because I think they're all commandos. I think they spelt it wrong. More like a see you next Tuesday. But and they put the thumbs in, and they're standing with the thumbs in there, you know, like, oh, I'm special forces, special something, special needs. And they shouldn't be standing like that. And then they take their hats off and everything like that, you know. The old-fashioned constables and the inspectors, and they would have went mental at them. You could even, you know, get suspended and fired for not walking about, not wearing your hat, dealing with the general public. They must be in full correct uniform. They're not allowed to take the hat off and argue like some slob. They all think, you know, like as if they're dealing with some drug junkie infested person, like down the marketplace where my gym is. You know, all the crackheads all hang about there, and you know, they moved a lot of heroin addicts around the country up to that town, and they put a special centre in there, so they send them from all over, down South London, everything. You know, it was a good idea. Ruined the town. But like, you know, and obviously you've got to deal with them people, and they've got a certain attitude, but the police seem to have just adopted like that attitude, as if that's all they ever deal with. You know, they're supposed to have an extremely respectful, authoritative job, and they're acting like prats, all of them. It's disgusting. Can I go down there? Yes. I'm gonna go right down here. This is a beautiful part of the little village where I live, and you can see right out to the coast. You'll not be able to see it, but like, you know, here it's just, there's big cliffs here. You know, dog fell off the cliffs a few months ago. Horrible. I don't know why anyone would walk along there and let the dog off next to a literally 100-foot cliff draw. There you go. All the horses there, little fields horses, and then it's just like the cliffs. But anyway, so they think that they can act in any way they can, and they think that you don't know, and 99% of people don't know, that you can hold them to account, right, financially through a tort by doing a commercial lien. So you've got to really, like, I'm going to put some information up, but tell you, so what you do is you actually put them on notice, and you put them on a final notice straight away. You don't give them a chance, like, oh, well, you know, whatever, you got to apologise, you know, and you put them on this commercial lien in a tort, from a tort that they've hurt you, okay? And you've got to be able to prove it, by the way, and you can't embellish it, you know, you've got to be able to prove it. It's really good if you've got witnesses, you know, and a lot of cases, you know, if they're like arresting you for whatever stupid reason nowadays, you know, you weren't wearing the nappy on your face correctly, or whatever you had wore, you know, and they've seen them arresting people left, right and centre. That is a tort. Now they have to file paperwork for that. That is your witness, the paperwork itself. These people sitting there, you know, sitting outside cafes. It's lovely if it was summer, but when you're forced to do it and it's cold, I know it's nearly June. It's still a bit chilly today. All down the coast there now. But anyways, you've got to pay attention to the torts. So you put a commercial lien on them, and you do it properly, you do it with the paperwork, and you file that, right? Now they have to rebut that affidavit, because it's done in a commercial lien is done in an affidavit form, all right? So Mr. Smarty Pants, who tried to say that oh, I'm a legal advisor and like an affidavit is not worth anything. Well, I'll tell you it is, pal. Right? Now, you put an affidavit in for a tort that some clown in a costume's done on you, right? That, and you've got the proof of to say that it was like a false arrest and you haven't done anything, right? Now, if they've let you go, then there must have been a false arrest, by the way. Or if they've hurt your hands, like, you know, with the cuffs or anything like that. Now, you can put a commercial lien on them through the affidavit, and they have to rebut it. And you send it to them, right? And they have to rebut it point by point. So that's why I'm saying you have to be precise. Don't like to make things up. Be exact. You know, like the wrists were swollen, they were marked. That's a physical injury. That is assault, right? And they think, oh no, I'm just doing my job. No way, you're just doing your job, pal. All right. All of the and in the Nuremberg Code, it states point blank, you cannot use that as an excuse. The police and the guards, they were the first people that got hung. They were all the ones that said, I was just following orders, I was just doing my job. The first ones to go there were. Right, so like using that, and it actually states on there that you cannot use that for an excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. This is your revenge for all these idiots, these clowns in costumes that think that they're above the law. They haven't got a clue what law is. They were just taught what, oh well, you have to get joinder, and then once you got joinder, you can do what you like. Joinder, you give them your name and date of birth, they've got joinder. You've made a contract with them. You never give them your name, you never give them your date of birth, you tell them nothing, you know. But what if they can't rebut that point by point? And what happens if they do rebut it? If they say, well, that didn't happen, and then you say, well, okay, well, I'll take that point out, but I'm keeping the rest of the points, and you send it back to them again, and then just say they're doing, oh, that didn't happen either, or it wasn't quite like that, then take that point out. So whatever you're left with at the end is what they're not arguing with. Do you understand? So if you'd put 10 points in and 3 of them that said, oh, that didn't happen, but what they've actually done is they've agreed the other 7 did happen. All right, this is the law. So then you've got a sworn affidavit that they're not arguing with for the other 7 points. So on the 7 points, I'm making these numbers up, but right, let's just say, right, you know, and the rest of it they've agreed to, and they can't argue back. So once it's all reset, and you give them, like, you know, like whatever, 14 days to like rebut the revised version, then that is the version that is the truth, sworn truth in law. So what happens is then is that you can actually put it in to get follow through for that, for like for your compensation. So let's just say, you know, and the thing is, this has got to be up to you. You could say, you know, the humiliation and like the pain and the assault and like taking time out of my day if it was an arrest. I'm just saying, but there's loads of other things you've got to be able to think of, and think of it like the councils and things like that closing down your businesses. All right, for this I'm not going to say the words because like, everything gets flagged. Do you know what I mean, though, don't you? Right, so you can put these torts in, and then once they get through, and I'm talking about, say, agonists in the office, right? All these Public Health England officials, I had them ringing me. Oh, I tell you, such an ignorant, hideous attitude. Well, you can get the tort on them, right? And then once they can't like rebut the affidavit, so they've gone down, they've knocked the points down, then you can send that off to the court. You don't need a judge, because affidavits and these type of commercial liens, and on an affidavit it has to be first-hand information, first-hand knowledge. So someone else can't say, oh, this happened, that happened, unless you were there, right? So a judge can't say that they were there because it was only you that was there with the clown in the costume, say, or the idiot from Public Health England who thought they were sitting in their office, big fat knacker, right, on the phone, like shutting your business down because they got told to, sitting stuffing their face at home in the hot tub drinking wine all summer long while everyone else was trying to suffer, and they were all on full wages. Yeah, anyway, so right, you get that. You can, once they've got that and they can't rebut anymore, and you've got it sworn, and then you can actually send that to the court to get it authorized. You don't need a judge. They just authorise it, and this is fact. You need to Google it. You need to like get on the torts, work on how to do the liens, and you do it with the courts. Now, once you've got that, that's a court order. Now, just say, look, just say like the damage to you, right? Emotionally, psychologically, financially, everything was like $250,000 or $1 million. But like, you know, and you can easily say that because nobody can say like emotionally how much it hurt or didn't hurt apart from you. So just say you've done it for $250,000. You and the judge, not the judge, but the court in there, they've authorized it. You have a lien now. It's called a commercial lien, and you put it on them, on their property, for 99 years or until it's paid. Right? 99 years or until it's paid. That lien. So you can then, and this is the real good bit, you can then go to a local bailiff, and what you have to do is you have to put an advert in the paper, which is good for like the bailiffs. You can actually put in just say for like, let's just say PC plonker, all right, although they're not PCs anymore, policy enforcement plonker, right? Their credit will be very dodgy now because they have a lien on them, a commercial lien on their property. All right, so don't be lending them any money because their credit rating is going to go down because I'm putting a lien on them. And you put that in. Any bailiffs that are interested in this lien, contact me. All right. So then once the lien has been agreed with the court, and it does, right, and it's a sworn affidavit and they haven't rebutted the final points, right, so they've actually agreed it, okay, then the lien goes on their property and on them. You know, you try selling the house, I'm telling you now, and then you get the bailiffs in, and it's all legal through the court. How good is that? Now the bailiffs that you've been fighting to get away from your house all the time, you're sending it round to some clown's house. Yeah? Okay, now I know I've kind of like went over it. My dogs are at the window looking for me. I'm gonna have to go. I know I've kind of like gone gleamed over it there, but that's basically how it happens. And you can take everything. All right, so say that it was like, you know, $500,000. I mean, well, if it was a normal house, like, you know, I'm not on about like in the middle of London or anything, but you know, you could take it all. You could shut down the bank accounts, and this is all legal. This is all done with bailiffs. This is not hocus pocus, and it's all done through affidavits, which are powerful legal documents. All right, so you can shove your law degree right up your jacksy, mate. You know, coming on and putting negative comments on other people's posts. But I'm telling you, right, you get that done, all right, and then you get your revenge. Now, how good would that be? That's how you deal with clowns in costumes. That's how you deal with the officials that sat all year. I was shut down, and all these idiotic, like, you know, sitting in the hot tubs at home drinking wine on full wages, you know, because they worked for like the government that were trying to kill all the local business. I'm lucky that we've survived, right? But just by the skin of the teeth, you know. And all these, what did they call them in this country? Well, you got payments, like, you know. I never got a penny. But you know, like, I can't remember what they call it now. Furlough payments. I never got a penny. Nothing. The whole bloody year. I've done tons of work online, and that's how I survived. But anyway, so like, I'm like, see if you can like have a look at commercial liens and see if you can find out more and just like learn a little bit more about yourself, because I haven't given you all the details there, but I've given you the basis of it. All right, and if you can do that, then you that's the power of you to be able to hold all of these people to account. All right, all these people that think they've got authority. I remember when I was having the trouble and when I got closed down, right, and that horrible bitch, right, that was in the council office, and I says, look, I'm gonna sue all of you. I'm gonna come after you. She went, you can't do me. You can only do the council. You can't have any effect on me. I wish I'd had this was 8 months ago, before I'd got this, you know, and I had forgotten all about it. That course was like in 80, when I had done the law on tort, 1984, 5. you know. And then when I've got this course on the liens, and I thought, well, I know all of this. I know all this already. You know, and it's like a refresher course. So if I'd have just thought, instead of being so angry, you know, and just wanting to go in and literally destroy the officers and everybody in it, you know, I get like that sometimes. That's why it's always been good to do the kickboxing and go in and get all your anger out on the bags, and like, I can't do it now. Like, I'll go in and beats the crap out of me. Anyway, that is how we get our revenge. You know, I'm so desperate. Not desperate, that's not the right way of putting it. I think on the 21st of June, summer solstice, it can be good or bad. You know, the evil can be used in it as well. And I think they're trying to shut us all down again. And I'll be completely evidenced as private. And I'm gonna be leaning on them all. Anyway, I have to shoot off. I've got to go and get... I look scruffy. Sorry for looking scruffy. But like I say, I knew I was going to train today, so I'm going to go and get myself all ready, and then the classes later on this afternoon. But take care, everybody. And, alright, the webinar will be next week if you want to go on it. I'm going to go over the A for V still, because there's still loads more to learn on there, but I'm going to try and go over quickly what we have been doing, and then the new stuff. But then I'm going to explain a little bit more in depth and do more videos on. I'm just talking about it now, but on how to do these liens. It's extremely powerful for everybody, and you don't have to be witnessed. You don't have to do UCC. This is for everyone. Everybody can do this, right? But they try and make you think you can't, and that you've got no power. And you have power, and you have authority, you know. And you can do commercial liens when people have harmed you financially, emotionally, you know, physically. You can do that. All right. See you in a bit. Take care now.